And now that we're done with that weird intro, welcome to VR Troopers, a fighting game based on a TV show that was basically a brother to Power Rangers. We're going to set the time to unlimited, and we're going to only do one round per each fight. We're going to leave the difficulty alone, so all those changes ensures that the game takes less long. We're going to be playing through the entire game with Ryan Steele because he has this special attack I really like, this running punch that's actually very devastating. The first 3 fights are the hardest for me because of the characters we have to go up against. Tankatron, even though he is the first character you fight, is kind of a big deal. He's capable of making a mine spawn out of mid-air, and not only can that hit you while it's in the air, but it also hurts you if you step on it, meaning it's devastating for a lot of reasons. It's a very good mid-range and short-range attack, just like our punch, so I'm kinda jealous of it. We can only use our special attack after our profile starts flashing in the upper left. And we can see when our enemy's profile starts flashing, so we can hopefully dodge their own special attacks. This game does have chip damage, so as long as we hit the enemy with our special attack at all, then we should be fine, but they will tend to jump over it if we use it when we're really far away, as you saw a couple of times there. Another reason Tankatron is so difficult is because he's a tank, so we can pull up a shield that will prevent him from getting knocked back as easily, and make him take much less damage. In Battle Grid mode, we fight these enemies called Scuds, which only die if we knock them into each other. The best way to accomplish this is with a jump kick. We only had time to kill 2 of them this time because the time limit was very strict, but the time limit gets a lot larger as the game goes on. So the reason Decimator is difficult for me is because of this move he has where he can teleport behind us and kick us in the back. You just saw it a second ago, and he'll use it many... Yeah, there he goes. He'll use it many more times. It's really difficult to get out of the way in time, but it is possible if you jump a lot. His other attack that I worry about is this giant wave that he shoots out of his sword. It's a projectile, and it's kind of intimidating, but you can jump over that too, even though it seems huge. You can also block his special attacks, of course, but... you know, chip damage. Most of the time in the game we're going to be in the air instead of blocking. Decimator will even use his teleportation move defensively to get out of our special attacks, which makes him a lot more dangerous. So we barely win this time. If you remember when I said jump kicks are the key to Battle Grid mode, well, you'll see what... yeah, it's a little... Battle Grid mode's a little bit of a non-issue. You can just stand in the corner and kick them into each other infinitely like this, and they never switch up their pattern. So we're going to be skipping Battle Grid mode from now on, because it's just this. It is true that Darkheart has a shield, but he's still much easier than our first 2 fights because his other special attacks are a little underwhelming, like his ability to turn invisible. It doesn't help him too much because it's still easy to back him into a corner. And if you are seriously ever worried about where he went while he was invisible, you can just use the running punch to find him. He does manage to push us away a couple of times by using low blows while his shield is up. And I never quite learned my lesson, but that's okay because we win anyway. Kongbot here is easy prey. He has a very pitiful projectile that's easy to avoid, and his most deadly attack runs right along the ground, making it easy to jump over. He also does this thing where he turns into a tornado, but I'm not sure how that's actually supposed to help him at all. It would be cool if he could, like, use those things that are on his back, or maybe some laser eyes or something, because he looks like he would have those, but no, he can't. He only has 3 special attacks. The Magician is a bit of a gimmick character. He has a very basic projectile, but he can also turn into a hat on the ground, which makes him invincible, and he can throw his hat at us, which will turn us into a random character, and even turn him into a random character, which seems kinda useless. If you didn't want to play as the Magician, why would you be playing as the Magician? He manages to use it while we're in the corner over here. He turns us into Kongbot, and he turns himself into JB, one of the player characters. And this is a little weird and inconvenient, but it's not going to stop us from winning the fight anyway. The only thing we really need to worry about with JB is his laser lance, which is his projectile, and it's really long. That's its whole thing, is that it shoots all the way across the screen, making it a little bit difficult to jump over. It takes a while to use, too, so you have to jump over later than most other projectiles. Aside from that, JB is kind of a piece of cake. His other attack, that dive roll, very easy to jump over, like Kongbot's charge. Caitlyn's whole thing is that she has two projectiles, and they move pretty fast, both of them, so they're kind of useful, but her lack of close-range moves means she's really easy to back into a corner. Her second projectile is this weird force push thing, which knocks us back a couple of times, but we always push her right back in the corner. She also knows how to time it so it hits us as soon as we stand back up, which can be a little irritating, but she's still easy. Now it's time for the ultimate battle against ourselves, which is actually difficult for me, yes. Of course, since he has the same moveset we do, he also has our running punch, but he uses another move that we never do use, overdrive. It acts as a shield just like Tankatron's, and this combined with his running punch actually makes the fight with our clone a lot more difficult. Even if we flail at the air a couple of times here and there, you know, it's still a difficult fight. I resort to using almost entirely jump kicks on this guy because I really don't want his running punch to hit us, because that hurts. Of course this means he can uppercut us out of the air, but we deal more damage on the average anyway. Here is the battle grid again, because I wanted you to see it one last time before the game was over. You'll see the timer is now at 80 seconds, and we're going to fast forward through it instead of making you watch all of that. It is true that Chameleon is difficult, but not because of his dumb gimmick that lets him turn into other characters, it's because he zooms across the screen when he's not transformed into other characters, in a way that makes him really hard to hit. So if he would stop playing dress-up and just move back and forth across the screen really fast in his normal form, then he might actually have a winning chance. It is true that he changes forms very frequently, which is probably supposed to keep you guessing and make you really nervous about what's coming next. But the only thing that will actually make you nervous is when he decides to transform back to normal and keep diving at your crotch over and over, because that's kind of terrifying. As you can see, we're having a difficult time fighting him when he's not transformed. I also assume he can't choose who he transforms into, which would make him kind of terrible to play with. Just like the Magician.
Bingo.